welcome back. Thank you for joining us. My name is Michael. I'm going to be chairing this second panel. Okay, and this is a panel where we're going to be reviewing some edge computing use cases with ONEedge. We have a great collection of presentations to share with you. Okay, so here is our lineup for this panel. First, we have Alfonso Carrillo. He's a senior edge solution architect at OpenNebula, and he's going to be presenting about advancing 5G edge with cell tower companies. And then after that, we have David Artuñedo. He leads on-life networks at Telefónica, and he's going to talk about the hybrid private public 5G edge. And then following David, we have Emil Svanberg from Research Institutes of Sweden. And he's going to walk us through running a testbed for edge technology and 5G. And then lastly, we have Sebastian Mangelkramer. He's the CEO of Full Stacks, and he's going to provide an overview of container orchestration at the edge. So one thing I want to point out here is within this panel, we have 4 different events within these swap card applications. So each of these presentations will be 15 minutes long. After each presentation, you will need to move to the next event on the swap card event platform. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And at this point, I'm going to hand things over to you, Alfonso. Alfonso, can't yet hear you. Nope, not yet. No.
No? How about now?
I can hear you. Yes.
Sure. Yes. Good morning to all. Welcome back to all of you guys that I have not seen for a while, especially in these traveling times. I would like to start by going over some of the EU new industrial strategy that we have been developing in the European Union for over the past 3-4 years, which tries to bring some sovereignty and some independence to the European market, and focus on the next 5 years to strengthen processing capabilities and capitalizing on the changes to come, in particular edge computing. Edge computing term sounds pretty recent, but we started this move back in 2014, 2015, where we thought that we should move, disseminate the computing capabilities closer to the users and bring it to their doorsteps of the customers, and allow them to use the capabilities of higher capacity processing. It's said that in the next 5 years, probably 80% of the data that is now processed in centralized clouds or hypercloud will be processed, will be moved to the edge, which means that there will be no dominant player in the market. So that will give really a market advantage to those companies or entities or organizations that take a step forward and move to provide edge computing capabilities. And this will allow Europe to strengthen their Internet of Things capabilities, telco cloud solutions, industry 4.0 or 5.0, whatever the next number is, and give Europe a real competitive advantage that we lost over the last couple of decades, different strategic reasons or economic reasons, and this will allow, this will be truly possible with the advent of open source. Open source will be the real driver to allow the allow Europe to be more competitive. Our competitors outside Europe are very big organizations, companies, very well defended or supported by their governments, and we need to do the same thing in Europe, where it's going to be hard to bring somebody as big as the actors we know. And so open source, we think, is the real capability to provide this strategic move. At OpenNebula, we have been very aware of it. And from the very beginning, we saw that as telcos move to try to create strategic agreements with the big platforms as Microsoft or AWS or Google, we really thought that there was a possibility for us to embark on a solution that was open source, and with the help of ONEedge, with the European Commission, well, we started to develop a platform that allow us to, as you already saw on the previous presentations, allow us to provide a solution. And also not to disintegrate, but to integrate with the hyperscalers. We've been working with them and trying to make a edge continuum from the hyperscalers all the way to the very far edge of the network. So that allow us to move forward in the project. And we did some trials with some telcos and with AWS, and taking advantage of 5G to be able to decouple the architecture, the black box architecture that existed. And we successfully were able to do that. We were able to create a network, a radio access network capability utilizing AWS wavelength. And for that, we worked with Verizon in the US, and then we did some trials with Vodafone here in Europe, and that worked quite well. But then, just to give you some idea of what we're talking about, because we've been mentioning a lot of capabilities, a lot of functionalities of OneEdge, of Edgify, but we have to understand what the whole market means right now. The evolution of 5G, the revolution of open source. 5G is an evolution of 4G. It allows to provide, it provides capabilities, real capabilities of low latency and video processing capabilities. 4G was surprised because telcos never expected that video was going to be such a big player on the mobile marketplace. And this is why 5G is such an evolution that provides high video capabilities with low latency. And the revolution comes because at the same time that 5G was being developed, it was taken care that open source was done, that we disaggregated all the components, moving away from proprietary solutions. So the truly disaggregated radio access networks now provides best of class open source components. That means that mobile network operators or tower companies can choose the best components they have. And this will provide the capability of easily integrating to third-party services at the very edge. But just to give you some figures, independent mobile tower companies are those that are capable of providing the cell site, the tower, as you know, and the little house that hosts the radio equipment. There right now, we have about 44%. Oh, excuse me. Let me say that differently. There is about 440,000 cell sites in Europe, counting all European countries. But the 5 biggest countries of the European Union have about 107,000, hold about 243,000 cell sites. And of these cell sites, about 107,000 are held by independent tower companies. What's an independent tower company? An independent tower company is a company that is not owned by a traditional mobile network operator, and or at least 33% of the company is only owned by a mobile network operator. And the advantage of the independent tower companies is that they can host several mobile network operators in their cell site. The average to date as of December 2021 was that they host 2.4 mobile network operators in each location. So this provides a huge capability for saving money for the mobile network operators and sharing infrastructure, which is quite important. As independent tower companies continue to grow, then they will not only be they will move from being a passive provider of a solution, providing the tower, the electricity, and the floor space, to providing some of the radio of the radio network access components. And there are several models of doing that. There's a multi-operator radio access networks, multi-operator core access networks, where they share different components amongst the mobile network operators. And this allows to not only, as I said, to provide close edge computing capabilities, but as you share hardware, you're able to move different use cases between different mobile network operators and provide a more sustainable environment for the radio access. What do we mean by passive to active? Right now, on the passive operators, power companies, they only share the site, as you can see here, or they can share the backhaul, the connection between the cell site and the core network. Companies, network operators, radio hosted.
Alfonso, I don't know if I can no longer hear you. No. Now you're muted. Okay, try again. Maybe you can take your headphones off and use your...
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay. And Alfonso, just so you know, you've got 2 more minutes left.
Great. Okay, so as this move occurs from passive to active, we'll see more sharing of resources. This active sharing of resources will allow the companies to provide higher edge computing capabilities with more equipment, host not only the mobile network operators, but also third-party services, which is quite important when we're talking about what Tino said at the beginning. You're hosting gaming at the edge, or you're hosting low latency video surveillance or security at the edge, provides all the processing. So you can share amongst several mobile network operators without each one of them having to have all this infrastructure in place. And just to finish, we work with Telefónica ONEedgeDay. David will give you some more details of what we've been doing with them for the past few years. And we also we're starting to work with Vantage Towers and seeing how we can be, how can they be operator neutral provider of infrastructure. So with that, I think I'm done with my presentation.